I did a plank every day for 30 days. Here's what happened. Day 1. I got down on the floor, held a plank for 30 seconds, and thought I was going to die. Not exaggerating, my arms were shaking, my lower back was screaming, I was sweating from an exercise that requires zero movement, and somewhere around second 20, a very serious part of my brain started negotiating with me about whether this was actually worth it. I held it anyway. Barely. That was day 1. Here's what the next 30 days actually looked like. I set one rule. One plank every single day, no skipping. No replacing it with something easier, just the floor, my arms, and whatever time I could hold it. I started at 30 seconds and added 5 seconds every 3 days. Days 1 to 7. Everything hurts and nothing makes sense. The first week was uncomfortable in a way I didn't expect. Not just physically, my wrists hurt, my shoulders burned, my core felt like it was being wrung out like a wet towel, but the strangest part was my lower back. It ached. Not during the plank, after. I'd finish, stand up, and feel this deep, low-level soreness that followed me around all day. Here's what was actually happening. My core muscles, which had been essentially decorative for years, were being forced to activate and hold tension they'd never been asked to hold before. The lower back pain wasn't injury, it was compensation. My back muscles were covering for a core that didn't know how to do its job yet. By day 7, the back soreness was already fading. My core was starting to figure it out. Days 8 to 14. Something quietly shifts. Week 2 felt different, not easier exactly but more controlled. The shaking reduced. I could feel specific muscles engaging that I couldn't feel at all in week 1. My transverse abdominis, the deep core muscle that wraps around your spine like a belt, started activating properly. I also noticed something I wasn't expecting. My posture changed. Not dramatically, but I caught myself sitting straighter at my desk without thinking about it, standing differently in line. My body was beginning to understand what engaged felt like and defaulting to it. This is the part nobody tells you about planks. The benefit isn't just a stronger core, it's a nervous system that learns what stability feels like and starts recreating it automatically. Days 15 to 21, the visual changes nobody warned me about. By week 3, I was holding 60 seconds comfortably. But the more interesting thing was what I could see. My stomach didn't look dramatically different. I hadn't lost significant weight, but the shape of my midsection had changed. It looked tighter, more defined. Not because I'd burned fat, a plank is not a fat-burning exercise, but because the muscles underneath had developed enough tone to change the surface appearance. My lower back pain, which I'd had chronically for 2 years, was noticeably reduced. Not gone, but the constant dull ache that I'd accepted as normal was quieter. I also stood taller, measurably. A plank trains the same muscles that hold your spine in neutral alignment. When those muscles get stronger, they do their actual job, keeping your skeleton stacked correctly instead of collapsing forward under gravity. Days 22 to 30. The honest truth. The last week I was holding 90 seconds. Not impressive by any standard, but for someone who couldn't hold 30 seconds without shaking on day 1, it felt significant. Here's what actually changed after 30 days. My core strength improved measurably. Exercises I'd struggled with, deadlifts, overhead press, even running, felt more stable because the foundation those movements rely on was finally doing its job. My posture improved. My lower back pain reduced significantly. My stomach looked tighter without any change in diet, and I developed a daily habit that required exactly 90 seconds